Between these two schools, they've won 9 NCAA championships, 19 ACC tournament titles, and produced 6 Herman Trophy winners, including last year's recipient, Maryland's Patrick Mullins. And tonight, for the 76th time, the Virginia Cavaliers will play host to the Maryland Terrapins.
It's a damp night in Charlottesville, but you better believe the action's going to be hot. We're at Klockner Stadium as the Cavaliers and the Terrapins get ready to do battle. Good evening, folks. I'm Mike Hogwood along with Richard Broad. Glad to have you with us tonight for ACC soccer. And Richard, when you talk about Virginia and Maryland, you crank it up just a little bit. It's going to be intense.
An extra octave. Maryland went out, had a very difficult match with Notre Dame this week. Sasha Surovsky brought him back in. He said, now we've got to get ready for our rival. George Gelnovich and the Cavaliers feel the same way about Maryland.
Well, we're going to see some great players tonight, including the defending Herman Trophy winner, Patrick Mullins. He is really outstanding.
He won the Herman Award last year, and a lot of people thought he was going to turn pro. He surprised them of not doing it. As Sasha Surovsky says, for all the right reasons. He's an outstanding student. He's a leader on the team. He loves Maryland, and I think he might just like to bring another national championship to College Park.
He's had a great year. Let's take a look at Maryland's lineup tonight.
They've got a lot of outstanding players, great depth, but the most important man, in my opinion, is that number 18 Dakota Edwards in the back. When he was injured early in the year, they struggled defensively. The sophomore adds stability to the Maryland back line.
Now, Virginia lost 3 of their first 4 games, but they've come on in large part thanks to these 2 guys.
Thanks to these guys and a lineup change by George Gelnovich. These 2 in the midfield have really been the spark, especially Eric Bird, the attacking midfielder. He scored a number of goals recently. And Todd Wharton, you just write him in the lineup and know he's going to get the job done as he has throughout his career here in Charlottesville.
All right, Richard, what's the key to their lineup tonight?
Well, the key is really back in the net. They lost Spencer Lasavita, who's been the starter the last 2 years. They've replaced him with a transfer, Jeff Gall from Creighton, who played in that Creighton team that went to the Final Four. He's done a great job thus far for Virginia.
All right, the players are ready, so are we. You want some great soccer? Hang on. It's on the way from here in Charlottesville, Virginia. And we're just about ready to go here. Maryland, Virginia, you can see both teams are nationally ranked. It's a great venue here at Klockner Stadium. There's Sasha Surovsky in his 22nd season. Won 2 national championships in 05 and 08. 7 appearances in the College Cup for Maryland. And on the other side, George Gelnovich in his 18th season. This year, he became the 2nd Virginia coach with 250 wins. That happened on September 24th. The other with 250, of course, great coach Bruce Arena here. And this Virginia team won the national championship in 2009. As you can see, they are in their own blue uniforms. Maryland is in white. Richard, I'm excited about this tonight. It's going to be fun.
Well, it should be. You've got a young Virginia team, some young players in Maryland, but they've got a lot of veteran experience. Virginia sees this as an opportunity to take over the balance of power in the ACC.
Virginia 6-3-2, 2-2-2 in league play. Maryland 5-2-4. They're unbeaten in league play at 4-0-2. Number 20 for Virginia, Patrick Foss. That's been quite a story for the Cavaliers.
It's a great story. Scott Thompson was a starter all his freshman year, part of this year, and Patrick Foss has moved into the lineup. He's soccer through and through. His dad is a soccer producer. His brother was captain at George Mason. He adds an element of creativity and a good left foot in the back.
One of many Virginians here on this Virginia team. George Gelnovich's done a great job recruiting here. There's the cross in the box. Bird, number 11, keep your eye on him. He's the leading goal scorer on this Virginia team.
He's already been very active, Eric Bird. I like seeing that if you were rooting for Virginia.
Quickly reversed Fields. There's the header, goal! The cross right in front of the goal, and number 31, Tsuba Indo out of Japan And what a difference maker he's been for this Maryland team, and they go up 1-0.
He certainly has been. Usually it's Endo getting the ball and finding Mullins, but this is a great ball by Shiloh Shuma. Mullins running down the left side where he's very dangerous with that left foot. Gets a little bit of space, really good ball brought back in, and there's Endo finishing in the second minute of the game. Maryland up 1-0.
Boy, that was a perfect ball there, wasn't it?
Brilliant ball by Pat Mullins. He can not only score, but he can serve it. And that's the way to head the ball by Endo. Down on the goal line, little chance for Jeff Gall.
Tsubasa Endo out of Tokyo scores the first goal for Maryland. Has now 6 goals on the season. Well, how big is it if you're on the road in an intense rivalry to score first? Not only scoring first, Richard, but scoring early.
Well, Sasha Surovsky pointed out a counterattack was very important, and that's where they got the goal from. Sometimes, Mike, you can score too early and think it's going to be easy. I don't think Maryland will take that approach. How will Virginia respond? This young team, they've gotten a real jolt. Will they come back and get after Maryland?
See what they do on the free kick here.
I think this is Patty Foss, who's got a lethal left foot.
Shot to goal! Virginia able to come right back and answer. How about that? It is on here in Charlottesville tonight. Todd Wharton, number 7, sophomore out of Glen Allen, Virginia. Started every game this year. What a steady player.
So many restarts are not directly from the kick itself. Good service by Patrick Foss. Ball comes out in the top of the box, and a great strike by Wharton. He's a very sound player technically. That's how Virginia responds, by drawing even within less than a minute.
Well, I talked about Virginia players staying in state. Wharton, a former Virginia High School Player of the Year, came here to Charlottesville, and he has just leveled it at 1. I think we're going to have fun tonight, huh? This is something. A lot happening here early. Keep your eye on Mullins. He's number 15. Number 31 there is Endo, who scored the goal. Cleared out. It will be a Maryland throw-in on the far side.
You take a look at this again. Good service by Patrick Foss, but it's a second ball coming out of the rebound. Excellent technique by Wharton. Maryland doesn't get out quickly enough. Very little chance for Zach Steffen to make a save.
Wharton, sophomore on the all-freshman team last year.
You see Pat Mullins battling. I like what's happened here for Maryland. Pat Mullins is a very good player up front, but he's also lethal coming down that left side. He's played the left midfield a lot in his career in College Park. They play him up front. I think maybe at the next level he could be an outside midfielder. Very dangerous in that part of the field.
Well, you mentioned at the beginning of our broadcast, he had a chance to go to that next level. Did not do it. Senior from New Orleans and the big leader of this team. Here's Endo for Maryland. Great ball, ahead it goes to Virginia's number 12, Riggs Lennon, who's had a tremendous year.
Very impressive player, the freshman Riggs Lennon, but a good work by Jeremy Raley to track back and deny the counterattacking opportunity.
Wow, what a great move. There's a shot and a score! Wow, how about that? Marcus Landy to 4.
Virginia plays with 2 wide players, but they often come inside. This is Solandi to 4, coming inside. Great individual artistry, beating 2 guys right away. point past Cronali and ripping the ball to the far post. Great goal by Solandi Dufour.
Solandi Dufour, that is only his second goal of this season.
Doesn't that give that young Virginia squad some confidence? 2 goals in the first 5 minutes after Maryland scores in the first 2 minutes.
We keep up like this, we're going to have some kind of game.
Keep up like this, they're going to think the basketball season started the way they're scoring.
Solandi Dufour, just a sophomore. A lot of young players on this Virginia team. Both these teams have come into this game with 7 straight matches without a loss. So both teams, Richard, are playing with a lot of confidence, and it's shown here in the early going.
They both played tough schedules early on. Virginia taking on some good teams outside the ACC, and Maryland going to California. A couple tough losses early on. That's what seasons them. These teams are not preparing for any one game or even just the ACC tournament itself. They want to get national recognition and compete for a national crown.
Patrick Foss, who we've talked about, is number 20 for Virginia.
Gives them that creative element at the outside back position.
Just a freshman. And again, a lot of young players you will see in this Virginia lineup. Shuma is number 23, and he's got it on the far side.
We talk, Mike, about these young players, but they have a lot of experience in competitive arena. The academy program, many of these players, 3 of the players from Maryland and Red Bull Academy, Patrick Foss and a couple of the other players from the DC United Academy, and then it's really upgraded the competitive competition that these players are getting on the club level.
And you talk about another one is Jordan Allen, who's a freshman, who had a lot of great experience coming in.
He's a dynamic player. He and Nico Corvo are
There's
2
Jordan,
of the top-rated recruits in the entire country, and Jordan Allen is just as explosive on his flank as Marcus Solandi Dufour is on the opposite side.
You talk about Jordan Allen. He was the captain of the U18 national team this past spring.
They're expecting big things out of him and this entire freshman class. George Gelnovich is delighted with the recruiting he's been able to do this last year.
They have started 7 underclassmen in each of the last 4 matches, has Virginia. That's a lot in the ACC.
Well, it is, and they have very few seniors. One of them, Kevin McBride, has been an anchor in the back. They're missing another very good player, Zach Carroll, who's been injured. But what a job McBride is making a play now, is done in the back for them.
Speaking of the back, and you touched on this, how great was it for them to get Jeff Gall in goal when Spencer Lasavito, they were really counting on, had off-season surgery.
Jeff Gall has been a lifeline for him.
Hits the crossbar.
We've got a whistle first. Jeff Gall has just really saved the day for Virginia because Lasavita, very experienced player, has had a fine career, and they just got him to transfer the last minute because Creighton has Elmar Bolovich's son winning the job, doing a great job out there.
Outside the 18.
Gall out of Bartlett, Illinois. He's listed as a sophomore, so he has 3 years of eligibility. Should get Lasavita back next year, so they'll be set in goal. Michael Sowers, far side, number 3. Started to settle down a little bit in the last couple of minutes. If you've joined us late, 3 goals already. Virginia on top 2-1. That's Rayleigh, number 12, sending it forward. And it It'll be Rayleigh with the throw-in.
Looking at Kevin McBride out of Northern Virginia. Not a highly publicized recruit, but a guy that just works every day. As George Gelnovich says, all he wants to do is get better. He's filled in for Zach Carroll. He's teamed with Matt Brown to make their defense much more consistent.
And he's one of the few seniors on this Virginia team, so he's a real leader out there.
He is. He leads by example, Kevin McBride. He's just done everything asked, and you need those guys, those glue guys, not necessarily a star. Jerry Yeagley used to say you have pianists and piano carriers. Kevin McBride's one of those piano carriers without which you don't get to be in the concert.
No, you need a lot of those kind of guys. There's Rayleigh. We're talking about Patrick Foss. You see him in your screen there, number 20, along with Matthias Aticha.
Right, he's marking Aticha. The thing that the defense in Virginia has to do, Patty Foss and all the defenders, is deal with the many different aspects of Maryland. They have a lot of different weapons. They can make changes, and there's nobody better in getting the right guy in at the right time than Sasha Surovsky.
This is Alex Cronali. We've talked about freshman Cronali. He's a freshman who's had a pretty good season for Maryland. Number 31, Indo, scored the goal. Mullins trying to chase it down and can't.
Mike, you've seen a tendency already by Maryland to go down the left side. That's where they're strong. Mullins can drift out, get in crosses like he did to create the goal. You've got Michael Sowers who can bring in service. Mikey Ambrose, that tremendous motor of his, can get up the flanks and get in crosses for his attacking teammates.
Now Virginia changing the field. Let's see if they can get an attack mounted. Here's Foss, number 20, on the near side. Good ball, Jordan Allen, the freshman we told you about. Number 7 is Todd Wharton, who scored one of the goals for Virginia so far here in this first half.
The tactics used by Virginia, pinching those outside midfielders inside, and that allows room for Sullivan on the right side, Sullivan and Patty Foss down the left side to come forward and get in service, and Virginia gets more men in the box.
Virginia has really looked good when they get the ball down in that final third.
White step, right up.
Rayleigh, number 12, on the near side. Foss can't save it in the air, and we've got our first sub of the game.
This is Chris Adue, I'd say, coming on, player out of Northern Virginia, D.C. area, played in that great program that David Evans has at DeMatha.
He's a freshman. Replaces Alex Cronali, another freshman. So Adui Atsum now on the pitch for Maryland.
And Adui Atsum has gone in the middle. They sacrificed some height with Cronali, and Sasha Surovsky's having a talk with him after bringing him off, but they need to stabilize this defense, get a little more pace in there with Adui Atsum.
Great offensive players, and Shilo Shuma and Subasa Indo along with Mullins for Maryland. They put a lot of pressure on. Briggs Lennon, number 12, battling for it on the far side for Virginia. Haven't called Riggs Lennon's name a lot tonight, but he's another freshman that has made quite an impact for Virginia.
Very, very smart player, works very, very hard. Outstanding student as well. Riggs Lennon started out wide in the midfield early in the year, but when they made the change from three front to two up top, Lennon became the logical choice to pair with Darius Madison. Good work by Dan Metzger in the midfield, deep in the midfield for Maryland. One of the hardest working players and a real unsung hero for the Terrapins.
Mindo tried to get it to Aticha sending it ahead to Mullins, and a great job by the Virginia defense because Mullins was in pretty good position.
You saw the athleticism of this young man, Kyler Sullivan. He was out of position but got back just in time to flick the header out of the area.
Cross there and nobody home, and again the match settling in a little bit. Sometimes, nerves early can cause a few goals to happen too. You know it's your big rival, you're a little tense and just quite haven't settled in.
Glad nobody asked me. I thought they'd come out and be tentative in the first 5 minutes. Anything but. Now it's kind of settling in. They're getting a little bit more settled in. But Maryland's a team that likes to play high octane and put pressure on the opposition. And they're gradually starting to get more and more possession. And Virginia can't allow that to happen.
It's Rayleigh. Virginia trying to turn it. Eric Bird, number 11. We haven't heard a lot from Bird tonight.
But you will hear a lot from Eric Bird. If they're going to be successful, Virginia, they need him involved. They haven't had to call on him. That great goal by Wharton and then that individual effort by Solandi Dufour. But Bird's the active guy. He's been the key to their attacking resurgence in the middle part of the season.
You're right, Virginia has just not been able to mount much of an attack. Is that Mullins who has gone down? Right at the midfield, I think that's Mullins.
It is Patrick Mullins. I didn't see what happened.
Very slow getting up. Looks like he's okay, but he spent some extended time down on the ground.
One thing about Patrick Mullins is he is a ferocious competitor. Takes after that man, his coach, Sasha Surowski. Had a great partnership, those two in Maryland, of 4 years at East A's. And again, like Sasha Surowski said, he does things for the right reason.
That is Mullins, number 15. Got the assist on the one Maryland goal so far. Scored by Tsubasa Endo. Now another attack. Is that a foul? Whistle. And an opportunity for Maryland here.
And I think it was called a penalty. This is a giveaway, and look at when Sowers can run with the ball, look how he's going inside, and I think they called the foul on Matt Brown on the far side. Sowers running with it. They give away by Kyler Sullivan. Sowers taking players on. I'm not sure, but Pat Mullins is sure he's going to take this one.
Mullins with the penalty kick. Tied at 2. He's not going to miss many of those.
No, he's almost automatic from the spot. Goals are scored a large percentage of the time in giveaways, what they call attacking third repossessions. Very careless ball by Sullivan, creates the opportunity for Sowers to run, did the right thing, got the foul called. As we take a look, here's the turnover coming in again. Sullivan very casual with the ball back. Sowers just keeps on going and runs at Brown, who does nick him with his knee. I think that's a legitimate call. Penalty kick converted by Mullins, and it's 2-2 halfway through the first half.
So far this year, Mullins has scored on a PK against Old Dominion, and he had 2 penalty kicks against a very good Clemson team earlier this season.
Indeed, very good Clemson team. This ACC gets tougher and tougher each year. What a job Mike Noonan has done, just like the great job he did at Brown before coming. And we've got a lot of really good programs here. Jay Vidovich, always has Wake Forest in the mix. And North Carolina could get a couple wins instead of all those ties. They'd be back in the hunt too.
So now Virginia trying to swing momentum their way. Great defensive play by Mickey Ambrose. Mikey Ambrose took it away, number 5.
Love that guy, one of the smallest players on the park, product of the FC Dallas Academy. End-to-end action, great energy, young man with a passion for the game. That's a great play on Salandi DeFore, who, as we saw, can really take defenders on.
Mikey Ambrose, freshman All-American a year ago. What a team that is. Mullins and Indo. Whistle again.
And yet another penalty kick. And I wasn't sure that Peter Diemel was going to call 2 so close to each other, but he didn't hesitate for an instant. Pat Mullins is just so stout. He's working hard. He gets Patty Foss to overcommit, and the foul is called right there on Kevin McBride. It is very close. Again, almost the same kind of foul. Just managed to nick the man with his knee. Mullins goes down. He gets another shot at a PK.
And he hits it.
To the same side. And you wonder about that. Is he going to go the same way? And it's kind of a mind game between the goalkeeper and the penalty kick taker. This time, Patrick Mullins wins it.
Wow. Patrick Mullins has just given Maryland the lead, and for the second time this season, he scored 2 penalty kicks in a game.
I don't care how you do it, the young man has tremendous poise. He creates it, and that's a foul taken down by Kevin McBride. Both of those calls close, but there was contact taking the man down. That's a beautiful penalty kick, low and on the ground into the side netting.
A lot of action here in this first half.
Don't turn your head. Don't go get a soda out of the refrigerator. Don't go to the bathroom. Wait till halftime. Something happening before you can blink your eyes.
This is the kind of soccer I love, though. Fun to watch.
This is a great showcase. I never would have dreamed there'd be 5 goals in the first 20 minutes.
I think it might be a Virginia player down on the far side. Did he run into the wall? Not a ton of room between the sideline and the wall here.
This is Patty Foss, who took a shot, I believe. It's down right here. You get a chance to look at it. Foss going with a Aticha, and we can't see where he hit, but I think you're right, Mike. He hit the wall going down, and they're a little bit concerned for Patty Foss. This is a better look at it. He bangs his head right on that railing.
On that railing, yeah.
He has come off, but I think he's going to re-enter the field of play. Virginia's so deep, but Patty Foss did not play much in the first few games. Won that starting job, has done a great job since he's been in. They've got Scott Thompson in reserve, but Foss knows how hard it is to earn a job in a team like this. He's going to want to come back on.
You know, I love what George Gelnovich told us yesterday. You know, he gives a guy a chance to earn a job, and when you earn it, you stay out there till you lose it. It's not easy to get playing time on this Virginia team, and there are a lot of great players.
What I like here is you see immediately comes back in the field, and Patrick Foss gets stuck in on the tackle. He's not going to back down. He's a very competitive young man from an athletic and soccer-loving family.
That's Allen, number 8, highly touted freshman.
Mike, we talked about the pressure that Maryland puts on. Even though the goals were on penalty kicks, Maryland dictating the game, getting on top of it, and Virginia not maintaining possession gives Maryland a chance to get the ball in the box and create opportunities. 2 penalty kicks as a result.
Ticha trying to serve it up. That's a Ticha, number 11, turns it over. Yeah, just mentally for Virginia, they need to mount some kind of an attack here. 11 is Eric Bird. Look for him to get some touches.
And he's the guy who got the ball and settled it down, making a simple pass across the field, allowing Virginia to get possession. This is what they must do against Maryland. You sit back and allow Maryland to develop a rhythm, you're just inviting trouble.
What a great ball that was. And what a great save for Maryland by Zach Steffen, the freshman in goal. Cross, the header is wide.
That's Darius Madison, who's been quiet to this point, but he almost got a goal. Tremendous save at the near post by Steffen. Here's Madison, who goes out wide, gets room to run, takes on two players. Excellent angle, denying Madison by Steffen. Zach Steffen capable of brilliant saves. He came on for Keith Cardona, who was a starter last year. They haven't lost much with Steffen in the goal.
Out of Downington, Pennsylvania, and again, just a freshman. Nice job by Schuma, who I think's played well here in this first half.
Another player who's very good in keeping possession from that excellent program, Episcopal High School, run by Rick Wilcox in Northern Virginia.
I think at this point we're going to get a timeout. 22-23 to play first half. We've had a lot of action between two rival teams. Maryland leads Virginia 3-2. Back in Charlottesville, Mike Hogwood, Richard Broad with you. It has been exciting so far for Virginia. Todd Wharton has scored. Marcus Solandi DeFore has scored. For Maryland, it was Dubasa Eno who scored, and then Patrick Mullins with two penalty kick goals, 3-2 Maryland.
Keeps up like this, by the end of the game, it'll be easier to say who hasn't scored. It's unbelievable. One of the greatest first 20 minutes I've seen in a long, long time.
I hope you didn't just jinx us.
Saying we shouldn't have taken a break. Just keep doing it. Keep shooting on goal.
Maryland loving the attack. Here's Rayleigh. Rayleigh serves it up, and right there for Virginia, Jeff Gall.
Mike, both these teams, when we talk to the coaches, emphasize the strength of their attacking five and the youth and somewhat of the inexperience in the back, and it's really shown a little bit. Some counterattacking opportunities. Maryland's done very well with that, but Virginia, with that great speed on the flanks, has really diced the Maryland defense, and it's been a wide open game. I know what George Gelnovich and Sasha Zurawski said, but I didn't believe we'd have 5 goals in 20 minutes.
Gall sends it forward. The header by Riggs Leonard. Here's Jordan Allen. Solandi DeFore, who scored the goal. And Virginia can't muster a shot. Shots are 4-3 in favor of the Cavaliers, who do trail 3-2. Metzger's number 7. We've called his name a lot tonight. He's played well.
He runs all over the place. Look at the work by Dan Metzger as he's asserted himself in the defensive midfield. That's when Maryland's got a hold of the game. We're looking at two of the best defensive midfielders in the country in Dan Metzger, the junior for Maryland, and in Todd Wharton, the sophomore for Virginia.
Watch out for this guy. That's Mullins.
Fine play by Jeff Gall after Mullins did all that hard work. just hanging in there and denying a corner. You don't want to give any more chances to Maryland than you have to. They are a dangerous team going forward in the attack.
Well, we've certainly seen that, and a couple of unfortunate fouls on the part of Virginia, leading to a couple of penalty kicks.
Well, they were close, both of them, but there definitely was contact. Ironically, both players hit the player running on with the outside their knee and took him down. Here's an interesting substitution for Maryland. Sonny Jane, who's been a starter most of his career, coming on for Aticha, who did a nice job now. Patty Foss has to deal with a different player. Sonny Jane is one of the most explosive 1v1 players in the country. He is lightning quick. He's not been playing well lately, and Sasha Surowski felt that giving him some time to read the game from the bench and then come on would be good to build up his confidence.
Even with that time on the bench, he is tied for first on the team with assists with 4, and a free kick coming up here for Virginia. Ryan Zinkin, number 21, is in for the Cavs. Good ball. And that's a goal! That ball just kept bending and bending and bending, and there was Jordan Allen.
We have to stop here. There is a flag up. Maybe it's an offsides. I'm not sure.
Well, the Cavaliers were certainly celebrating.
It's not an offsides. Peter Dima points to and runs back to midfield. That ball bent in by Patty Foss, just snuck all the way through. And Zach Steffen is a spectacular goalkeeper, but he has some lapses. I don't think anybody touches this ball. Maybe it's flicked on a little bit there. I'm not sure.
What a ball that was.
Taking a look again. No, nobody touches that ball. Maybe you give credit to Jordan, to Darius Madison at the end, but Patty Foss with that lethal left foot, it's another advantage of having him in there.
That's the second goal he scored this year off a free kick like that. He did that against Providence. Amazing.
Nice to have a weapon like that. Actually, there's an announcement made. They gave the goal to Matt Brown. I'm not sure he touched it. If he did, it was just because he hadn't had a haircut lately.
Wow.
He just flicked it on. But
You're right. It sure like Foss.
It looked like it wasn't touched, but we could be mistaken. Anyway, great restart by Patty Foss, and Virginia putting the pressure on. I still don't know if Matt Brown actually touched that, but he drew a lot of people, and that's why you throw the ball in the box. You take your chances, and you never know what comes of it.
So Matt Brown, the junior from Charlotte, North Carolina, credited with the goal that has tied it at 3.
Mikey, hands down. Check right. Dakota up. Right set.
Brown scored the game-tying goal in a match against NC State this year.
Team on your right. On your right. Come on, sir.
And I believe we're going to have our first corner of the match.
How about those Cavaliers? We're talking like they're down, they're losing possession. Maryland's taking over the midfield, but they're coming right back.
Now, if you're a coach, would you have Pat Foss take the corner?
I think that's a logical choice.
Yeah.
See what he does with that left foot, he bends it in and puts pressure on Steffen, who's got to be shaken after getting 3 goals.
Still with control, Virginia. That's Foss. Foss chases it back down on the far side.
If you notice with the balls that Patrick Foss serves in, they're driven low and hard. They're not these flighted things that give the keeper a chance to measure it, but he drives it low and hard, and one mistake by the opposing defense they pay, and Maryland has paid today.
Here's Jordan Allen, the freshman. Allen, a hard shot. Boy, does he have a strong foot.
He does. He can really strike a ball, and somebody, I think it might have been Dakota Edwards, stopped that maybe with his head. He just drilled that ball in. another substitution. Dakota Edwards is coming off, and they're bringing on Suleiman Danka, a player out of South Lakes High School in Northern Virginia, another freshman. Sasha Surofsky looking for more speed in the back to contend with those pacey forwards that Virginia's throwing into the attack.
Yeah, Danka is out of the D.C. area. And
D.C. Academy player.
there's Wharton, who scored a goal. He's number 7. Nobody home. Maryland clears. Goal to Foss. Boy, that was a great free kick he had a moment ago.
That's a great ball forward. Good work by Stefan, but Foss getting a chance to look forward, trying to find Ryan Zinkan up front. Zinkan, another interesting player for Virginia. Played almost everywhere. He's played outside back. He's played in the midfield. He's played up front. His versatility is a real asset for George Gelnavad.
Zinkan, number 21. Tell you another interesting thing. He is tied for the most games played on this team, 42 in his career. He's been a valuable part of this team. Allen gets it to Foss. Zinkan and Sonny Jane marking him, takes it away. Oh, Maryland would love to see Sonny Jane get back involved.
What he can do is beat people one-on-one. They need to play to his feet, let him take some of these defenders on, especially in the half when the opposing defenders are tired.
Sonny Jane has come off the bench, so his legs are fresh. This is Sonny Jane, number 10. He is quick.
He really is quick. Look at this, Patty Foss trying to force him out wide. He turns him again, and this is really a good job tracking back by Jordan Allen. But Maryland has a corner kick, and Maryland with an important substitution now. They take Sowers off, and Jake Pace, red shirt senior, number 20. He is a beast, and he puts a lot of pressure physically on opposing defenders.
That's Jane with the ball. Pressure's still on.
Peter, behind you.
Zinkan, number 21 for Virginia, trying to beat Metzger.
Not many people do. Dan Metzger doing all the dirty work in the midfield for Maryland.
It's not been an easy half if you're a goalkeeper.
You're going to have nightmares over this
Exactly.
if you're a goalkeeper.
Nice tackle, Jordan Allen, but Maryland retaining possession, and here's the quickness of Sonny Jane, number 10 in white. Long ball sails high and way wide.
We talked about Todd Wharton in the back of the defense. We talked about Eric Bird as an attacking midfielder. Eric Bird made a long, long run back to shut down Endo and put him under pressure. Good work by Eric Bird that time. He's been the spark plug, Eric Bird, as he's come out and he's struggled because he had a knee injury his freshman year. Probably wasn't 100% even last year. Now he is, and we're seeing what Eric Bird has to offer.
Bird's been really hot. He scored 5 goals in the last 4 matches, so he has been a hot player for this team. Brian Lima getting ready to enter for Virginia.
He's another one of those catalyst kind of guys coming on for Madison, and he's a junior. He hasn't played a lot until this year, but he's been a real aggressive guy coming on for 15, 20 minutes a half for George Gelnovich.
Played in only 2 matches a year ago, so his playing time has really increased this season.
Played almost every game this year and been a real good guy to spell Lennon and Madison up top.
Had a knee injury that ended his season back in 2011, so it's taken him a while to get over that and get really fit again. Again, Maryland on the tack. Zekan takes it away.
We talked earlier about Maryland. They have a lot of options, and Sasha Surovsky is a brilliant maneuver of players. What he's done now is brought in 2 faster players in defense, including Suli Donke and Odui Achim. But he's also brought on Jake Pace up top and moved Pat Mullins to the left flank. And this is where Mullins can really be dangerous, running at players, creating chances like the one he did for the first goal scored by Endo.
Hey, wait! I'm Sonny!
Off the free kick, Jane with the header. Here's Foss. Trying to get it ahead to Bird, not able to do it.
Great work again, tracking by Eric Bird. Good 2-way player. Both he and Wharton go box to box.
And that's Landy DeFore, who scored one of the goals. Good job by the Maryland back line. Mullins. Couple more subs coming in for Maryland. Daniel Johnson, number 24.
And it's David Cabellis, I believe.
Yeah, Cabellic is also
on.
in. David Cabellic, number 16.
When we talked to Sasha Surovsky, he said we had some injuries. We don't have as much depth. They've got more depth than anybody in the country. He's done such a good job recruiting.
Long shot by Cronali, goes way wide.
And that's one of the things people don't necessarily appreciate about the Maryland program. Sasha Surovsky, one of the best recruiters in the country. You got this guy, Jeremy Raley, a little bit unexposed, done a good job coming in the back. And he's not only a recruiter of talent, but he's a recruiter of good character. Maryland players, very competitive. And all the time I've watched them, I've never seen anything inappropriate in their behavior. They compete hard, take their cue from their coach there, but they always represent themselves in a first-class manner.
Allen on the throw-in as Virginia trying to mount another attack here as we approach 6.5 to play in the first half.
The Virginia wide players love to take people on, and sometimes they do it a little bit too much. Now, Jordan Allen, so physical, takes people on, and he gets a result out of it. We're looking down here. I think we've got maybe Sonny Jane.
Sonny Jane, yeah, was a little slow getting up. He seems to be okay. Allen will throw it in. Gets it back to Allen. There's the cross. This is Bird, number 11. Bird, oh my! An opportunity missed by Virginia. That was close.
My goodness, Riggs Lennon coming on, and somehow that ball went to Zach Steffen standing by the post.
I still don't understand how he got it.
Great tracking, though. That quickness in the back is playing a big role in shutting down some of these Virginia attacks. These Virginia players are really, really fast, and Sasha Surovsky's had to go with fast defenders to neutralize them.
A near miss by Virginia. We stay tied at 3.
Nice tackle by Patrick Foss. We talked about his lethal left foot. As we look at this again, great work by Bird, turns by Ambrose, and I don't know how, that's great tracking by Oduiachum that time. He may have knocked the ball to Stefan, or maybe Lennon just didn't get it right. I'm not sure, but very, very close to the 4th goal of the half for Virginia.
In the air. You know, I'd say the 50-50 balls have been about even here in this first half.
Maryland usually wins an awful lot of them, but Virginia is not backing down at all. They've come out to play.
Four and a half to go first half.
A mistake that some teams make when they play Maryland is sitting back in and hoping they can keep them down. Maryland has too many weapons. You have to have the talent to do it, but if you have it, you have to go after Maryland. This is what Virginia's done.
He's coming wide, and they're trying to get in there. Okay?
Widener St. Cyr is coming in. St. Cyr number 8. And Mullins will get a break here with 4 minutes left to play in the first half.
Widener St. Cyr, young man from Haiti, played a lot early in his career, even was moved by Sasha Surovsky to outside back. Not seen a lot of action this year, but maybe he can provide a spark. He's very creative, very explosive player.
And again, Mullins, who has 2 goals off of penalty kicks in this first half. Resting, so he'll be fresh, ready to go in the second half. Zekan had it on the far side for Virginia. Maryland able to turn the field, and here we go. Rayleigh. Great job by the Terps. Chance. Oh my! Right in front of the goal. How did he miss that?
We've had one at each end now. We just don't know how. It could very easily be four apiece.
So much talent out on this pitch. Two minutes left in the half. There's Bird. And for Maryland, Jeremy Rayleigh.
Good job by Jeremy Rayleigh. We've got another player down. I think it might be Jordan Allen here. I'm not quite sure. They may have to sub him. Jeremy Rayleigh has been a forward. He's been a midfielder. He's played a lot of different positions for Maryland, and now he's in the back. Give him a little bit of veteran experience at that right back spot. It is Jordan Allen who's down and may have to come out when they have the trainer come on for him.
Allen, the freshman from Rochester, New York, who has played well here in this first half. He's one of only 4 players on this Virginia team to start every game this year.
Special talent. Rochester's produced good players for a long time. Not too many kind of southern schools down here. Jordan Allen, just they can't say enough good things about him. Great young man, great attitude, and great talent.
Seems to be okay.
Taking a look at the competitiveness of this conference with Notre Dame coming in. They tied Maryland. They're always in the hunt, number 2 in the nation. And we talked about Clemson before, the great job done by Mike Noonan. And there's some good teams. Look at North Carolina. They can't seem to get over the top in the ties, and they're in the bottom of the table, but they'll be heard from before the season's over.
And once again, as I think we see this every year, great soccer played in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Header by Jane. That was Kabelic, number 16. Both teams in the last couple of minutes have had great opportunities to score and have not been able to capitalize.
Well, that happens in a lot of games, but the way this game has evolved, you expect them to score.
Absolutely.
Surprised when it doesn't go in the net. 3-3 at halftime. Who would have believed it?
We had 3 goals scored in the first couple of minutes. Kabelic can't catch up to it. 30 seconds to go here in the first half. By the way, coming up at halftime, there was a great women's game here last night. Virginia Notre Dame played in the rain. We'll have some highlights of that. Virginia women's team's having an unbelievable year.
Well, Steve Swanson has just done a marvelous job here, building it slowly but surely, and they are a legitimate contender for the national championship.
Yeah, ranked number 1 in the nation now. Our first half here is drawing to a close. What a first half it's been. A lot of exciting offense by 2 great teams and 2 great rivals, Virginia and Maryland. We're going to get a word in a moment with Virginia head coach George Gelnovich. Interesting to hear, I'm sure, his thoughts on this first half. He's here with us now, and George, how about this first half? Boy, this was something special, wasn't it?
I thought there'd be goals, but I didn't think there'd be 6 by halftime.
George, it's like you had Gaffney and Gelnovich up top for Virginia. Brings back memories of your own playing day. But now Maryland is really deep. They sub, they use a lot of different players. How do you feel about that? Can you match their substitution with your own quality depth, and how you guys going to be in the second half?
I mean, we'll definitely use some more guys in the second half. I mean, the guy that's killing us is Mullins. I mean, we just couldn't handle him. That's plain and simple. In the first half, we just could not handle him. I mean, he drew 2 penalty kicks. You take that away, and I think things are under control. He was just tough for us to handle.
What kind of adjustment, George, might you make to deal with Mullins?
I mean, we're talking about putting some more athleticism in the center back position. Maybe moving Kyler Sullivan. He's played in the center back position just to deal with that a little bit. And we got a guy, Jordan Porch, who's very athletic, to put out on the right back. And that's the same adjustments Maryland's made to us. They've put in 2 athletic center backs to deal with our athleticism. It's just that 2 teams with similar strengths.
All right, George, thanks a lot. Good luck in the second half. Yeah. George Gelnovich, the head coach of the Virginia Cavaliers. Yeah, none of us expected 6 goals in the first half. All tied at halftime. Virginia 3, Maryland 3 here in Charlottesville. Welcome back to Charlottesville. We're at Klockner Stadium. Men's soccer tonight, Virginia and Maryland. Women's soccer was here on this field last night. And I can tell you this, the weather tonight a little bit better than it was last night. It was pouring rain, but it was the largest crowd ever to see a women's soccer game as Virginia, unbeaten and untied, took on Notre Dame. First ACC meeting between these 2 teams in any sport. Matchup lived up to it.
Welcome back to Charlottesville. We're at Klockner Stadium. Men's soccer tonight, Virginia and Maryland. Women's soccer was here on this field last night. And I can tell you this, the weather tonight a little bit better than it was last night. It was pouring rain, but it was the largest crowd ever to see a women's soccer game as Virginia, unbeaten and untied, took on Notre Dame. First ACC meeting between these two teams in any sport. Matchup lived up to it. 4 minutes in, Gloria Douglas with the header. Virginia's up 1-0, but the Irish would answer. Morgan Andrews' header deflects the post right to Elizabeth Tucker, who tucks it home, and at the intermission, we are tied 1-1. We'll move now to the second half, and in the second half, 49th minute, bit of misfortune, an own goal by Rebecca Twining. But again, Notre Dame would answer, and it was Tucker again at the 73rd minute, and we would go to the second overtime. Let's move now to the second OT, a minute in. Colaprico with the corner, and All-American Morgan Bryant's header barely crosses the goal line, and the celebration was on. The Cavs with a 3-2 victory. It's the second time this season that Notre Dame has been involved in a controversial play. Take you back to the North Carolina game on September 15th, and Crystal Dunn's strike was ruled no goal. Watch again. You be the judge. Notre Dame got a 1-0 victory. Not the case last night here in Charlottesville. Check of other scores. Miami shuts out Pittsburgh. North Carolina got 2 goals from Crystal Dunn. The Heels have exceeded their win total from that national championship season from a year ago. And number 3 Florida State stays unbeaten with a 1-0 win over Syracuse. This reminder will be in Blacksburg on Sunday to see how Notre Dame rebounds from last night's loss. They'll take on number 10 Virginia Tech. Kickoff is set for noon. Check your local listings for the broadcast time in your area. For Notre Dame head coach Randy Waldrum, we asked him about the adjustment to life in the ACC.
Well, I think the difference is the times we've competed with them before, it's kind of been a one-off game. You know, you met Wake a few years back at a tournament at UConn, you know, or you played Carolina in a one-off game when you could get them on your schedule, or you hit one of them in the NCAA tournament one time. I think the difference now is just you're getting them every week. You know, you get Wake one day and you got Maryland the next, or you got, you know, Carolina one day, and this week going to Virginia Tech. So it's the culmination of getting them in back-to-back games is the difference. We've been very successful against the ACC teams in years past, and we hope to continue that. Our expectations haven't changed because we've come in the conference. But certainly I think getting them now back-to-back is the biggest difference.
And looking forward to Notre Dame, Virginia Tech in Blacksburg on Sunday. Well, we'll have our halftime highlights here, Virginia and Maryland. We are at halftime here at Klockner Stadium in Charlottesville.
And we welcome you back to Charlottesville. Our score 3-3 here at halftime. And guess what, folks? Richard and I are glad we got a little tent over our heads because it is raining. We saw that rain last night at the women's game, but it has started here. How's that going to impact the second half?
Well, believe it or not, it could lead to more scoring if that's at all possible. This mist makes a slick footing, leaves the defense a little bit unbalanced, and with the fast forwards on both Virginia and Maryland, who's to tell how many goals we're still looking for?
Speaking of fast forward, here we go with the first half highlights, and it was Maryland who scored first.
Right, Pat Mullins going down the flank, serving it back in. Endo on the header. Maryland's up 1-0, but we're not done. Patty Foss with the restart. Ball comes out at the top of the box. Wharton strikes it impeccably, and Virginia's even 1-1. And then that individual brilliance, Marcus Solani to 4, beats 2 guys at the top of the box, beats Cronali, drills the ball to the far post.
Great left
Virginia's
foot.
ahead 2-1. Maryland is not to be denied. They keep playing, and here's a giveaway by Kyler Sullivan in the back. He's a little bit too casual with the ball, and Sowers doesn't give up on it, keeps running at the defense. He's taken down by Brown for a penalty kick, which you know who's going to take it. The Herman Award winner Mullins drills it to the goalkeeper's right to make it 2-2. And Pat Mullins, as George Gelnovat said, he's been a handful. They can't stop him. This time he draws a penalty himself. He'll take it again, and he's going to go to the same side once again. putting the Terps up 3-2. And we're not completely finished even now. Patty Foss with that lethal left foot. Didn't think anybody touched it, but they gave credit. I think it skimmed maybe off Matt Brown.
Hit his hair, maybe.
At halftime.
Matt Brown, and then there were several near misses. Here's one of them for Virginia.
Yeah,
there was also one for Maryland. I don't see how that happened and didn't score.
I don't know. That ball hit Riggs Lennon and it just bounded to Stephan. And look at this work by Jake Pace, the moving mountain driving through everybody. And how does that not go in? Good work by Pace coming off the bench. He's been a spark plug for Maryland all year.
All right. Right now, it was a great half. Let's talk to Maryland's coach, Sasho Surofsky. Your thoughts on the first half and what's ahead, Sasho?
Well, I don't think we'll be making any videos of, principles of defending in that half, but there was a lot of exciting attacking stuff. Look, both teams have dynamic attacking players. There's been some mistakes on both sides. Hopefully we have to minimize the mistakes we're making and keep our attack going the same way. And look, it's a tie game at half, no matter what the score is. I'm sure it's exciting for the fans. I'm sure the coaches were getting gray hair with the giveaways, but it's Maryland, Virginia. What can you say?
Sasha, we talked to you earlier in the week. You said that this can be a counterattacking team and young defensive, explosive attacks. Saw that you had to make that adjustment in the back to deal with the pace of the Virginia forwards.
Yeah, I mean, we had to put a couple of guys that were maybe a little quicker, a little bit better matchups for us, and we made the change. I thought they did a nice job, and we have a lot of backs that have played a lot of minutes this year, and I think they were a little bit slow on the turn, and so we made some changes. It's been positive.
All right, Sasha, thanks a lot. Can't wait
Thanks,
for the
guys.
second half.
All right.
And we got the second half on the way from here at Charlottesville. We are all tied at 3 between these two big rivals, Maryland and Virginia. About ready to start the second half here. Mike Hogwood and Richard Brogg, great to have you with us for ACC Soccer. We had a great first half, tied at 3, and now the second half begins in the rain.
It'll be interesting to see the tactical adjustments that George Gelnovich and Sasha Surofsky made. George Gelnovich talked about going with Kyler Sullivan in the middle of the defense to add speed there. Sullivan's still at the right side at this point.
And Sullivan is number 13 in blue.
They have brought on Brian James as an outside midfielder on that right side. But again, they're going with the two backs they've used, McBride and Brown, who have been a good pairing for Virginia, at least up until this evening.
Well, there's some Terrapin fans who made the trip down from College Park, and they're making a little noise.
The crew came down all the way to Charlottesville. When you go to a Maryland game, arguably the best atmosphere for college soccer in the country, they are right behind the goalkeeper. They're like leaning over the opposing goalkeeper, and they call all sorts of, make him have all sorts of questions about his parentage and his lineage, his intelligence, and all sorts of things like that. It's a tough atmosphere for opposing players, especially opposing goalkeeper up there in College Park.
That was James, 17, who, as you said, has been inserted on the right side. Indo, who scored the goal, number 31, goes down hard, and there's a whistle. And we're going to get a card.
Brian James just started the second half, rewarded for his effort with a card. He never caught up to Endo, and that speed that Endo has coming through the midfield is an important factor. Virginia cannot afford to get stretched. Todd Wharton needs to stay at home as much as possible to deny these counter-attacking possibilities for Maryland.
Tsubasa Endo, who scored the first goal of the match, to take this free kick. Good ball right at Gall.
Good communication by Jeff Gall. Patty Foss about ready to head that ball. Gall calls him off. That communication aspect of a goalkeeper, very important. It denies a lot of shots being taken. Be a good shot saver, but you have to organize your defense and communicate as well.
James, 17, tried to get it to Riggs Lennon. Well, the second half has not started off near as offensively as the first one did.
Many of these games that open up wide open end up at the end of the game when nobody seems to be able to get the winner. So we'll have to see, but what an incredible first half of attacking soccer.
Aticha's number 11. Trying to get it ahead to Maryland's Sheila Schuma.
Very clever player. Great compliment to Mullins up top for Maryland.
There's Jordan Allen, that talented freshman. It'll be a corner for Maryland.
Sheila Schuma, one of 3 players they're playing in college. 2 played in college. 2 of his teammates from Episcopal played at West Virginia.
Headed but cleared out by Wharton.
All 3 of those players, African, Gift Maware and Shadow Sabelli, went to West Virginia. Credit to Sasha Surowski that he got Sheila to stay home and help the team in College Park.
Schuma, we were just talking about, is from Zimbabwe. He's got 5 brothers and sisters. They all still live in Zimbabwe.
That's the work you need out of Todd Wharton. He can go in the attack, strikes a good ball, but that was off a restart. They need him to stay at home in the center because the 2 center backs for Virginia, as good as they are, they're going to have trouble contending with the pace of Mullins and Schuma and Endo coming forward out of the midfield. Wharton needs to stay at home and anchor that defense, much in the manner that Dan Mullins has done for Maryland. Dan Metzger has done for Maryland.
There's Virginia, it's Allen.
Good effort by Jordan Allen, but those fast 2 central defenders now are making a difference in Maryland's defense. Uduiachum and Suli Donka, they have a lot more pace than Cronali and Edwards, and they need that pace to deal with the fast forwards that Virginia's throwing at them.
Possession going back and forth, but here's Lennon, number 12. James, number 17. Lennon has not gotten involved much offensively for Virginia, and he's a good player. There's Wharton, number 7. James with a chance. Good job by Maryland to clear it.
And that time Lennon did get involved, creating a chance for James. I like what Wharton's doing now. He's not trying to get too much into the attack, staying back, and he can dictate play from the deep midfield. He's a good enough passer to do that. And they've got Eric Bird who can get forward. Maryland, if Maryland takes over the midfield, Virginia's in trouble.
Throw in by Kyler Sullivan. Taken away by Sowers. We saw Sowers in the first half. He's the one that got fouled inside the 18, and one of the penalty kicks that Mullins scored on.
Once again, that play by Wharton, not pretty, but he knocks it down, gives the defense time to get organized. When the defense is unsettled, you see what happens. You get 6 goals and a half, 3 against each team. Wharton and Metzger play important roles in the deep part of the midfield for their respective sides.
Rayleigh went down hard on the far side. He'll take the kick. Good job by Wharton again to clear it out. trying to catch up with his Allen. You know, both these teams have a lot of fast players, a lot of speed.
They do. I'm just thinking that. A great ball by Bird coming and playing the ball forward, but Dewey Atcham comes back, and he's fast enough to negate Darius Madison getting forward for Virginia. Madison's fast enough, but Atcham just staying with him and makes it look easy, and it's not easy to stay with the pacey forwards of Virginia.
There is Riggs Lennon.
Very opportunistic player, understands the game well, gets into dangerous spots. Mikey Ambrose tracking him well that time, and he's just a little bit offside. Riggs Lennon has a very promising future here at Virginia.
You know, he has really been playing great offensively. He's another player that's got 5 goals in the last 4 matches. We talked about how Virginia's completely turned their season around after they lost 3 of their first 4. They've now gone 7 matches without a loss.
Give a lot of credit to the coaching staff, George Gelnovich, Matt Julis, Michael Bohanek. They made a change from 3 forwards to a 4-4-2, and they put Lennon up front where he's much more effective than he was out wide. They brought on Patty Foss, brought him in slowly. Now he looks like he belongs at that left back, and they've got some good young players, Jordan Allen, and they've got a bright future here in Charlottesville.
Sowers was fouled, and kick coming up. It'll be taken by Mikey Ambrose, number 5.
There's another young player with a really good left foot. It's a dangerous ball being struck in by Mikey Ambrose.
Oh, nice play by Gall to come out and snag that one.
What you need your goalkeeper to come and dictate terms. He did a good job for Creighton last year. He's playing well for Virginia. We look at a little bit of tussling in the box going on and marking. The key, though, is that goalkeeper comes out. He needs to take that ball a little bit higher. If it gets down low, maybe you get a player to deflect it. Got to take it at the top of its height.
Bird to Madison. Darius Madison.
That speed, you just can't deal with it. Darius Madison just puts so much pressure on the defense, driving forward. Jeremy Raley is all he can handle there.
And it's a corner for the Virginia Cavaliers. Knocked out by Steffen, the goalkeeper. Madison again. Madison. Just sailed wide.
A lot of excitement there in the Virginia crowd. They thought they got the 4th one and celebrating a bit too soon, I'm afraid. We take a look again, and this is actually Jordan Allen playing out wide, and both he and Lennon can really strike a hard shot. That one not on the frame. Got to get it on the frame. Accuracy is more important than power.
The teacher has it taken away. Here's James, number 17.
A lot of speed by Sullivan getting forward on the attack. He can go around people. Good work by Mikey Ambrose, making him run out of real estate.
Kyler Sullivan, one of only 4 Cavaliers to start every game this season, so he has been awfully important.
As a younger brother in the program, I think he'll get some time before long. But as you heard George Gelnovich say, he's a versatile guy. They played him in the center earlier. They may need him to go back in the center to slow down Pat Mullins and the other dangerous forwards for Maryland.
Indo leaves it for Metzger. This is a Maryland team that plays with a lot of confidence.
And that player there, Sheila Suma, very, very smart. Just held the ball. Patrick Foss, a little bit too eager to get it, gives up a restart. dynamic, explosive player. His high school program at Episcopal had some other players from Africa, some local players. They won 3 out of 4 private school state championships. That's a pretty amazing achievement in the state of Virginia.
Here's Allen. Good move by the freshman, Jordan Allen. Voss, who had such a great first half over on the far side. Miscue turns it over. Busy night in ACC soccer. NC State for Duke.
2 good teams there, Clemson, Wake Forest. They're going to be in the hunt as well.
Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, scoreless second half.
How about that? Notre Dame number 2 in the nation.
Chance for a shot here.
That speed and quickness in the central defense denying Virginia. When you've got players like Jordan Allen coming at you, you've got to be able to keep up with that pace.
Virginia has outshot Maryland 10-7. A couple of those shots coming here in the second half.
There's one of the shots, but it was more optimistic than accurate that time by Darius Madison.
There was a question whether or not this was a handball right there.
I don't think so. I think that ball hit the player. I think that was Duiatsu in the side. He had his hand up, but it went underneath his hand, the best we could tell.
Good job by Sullivan to take that away. Eric Bird. That foul's on Bird.
Activity of Shiloh Shuma paying off for Maryland. Very, very active, reads the game well, and he's in a good spot now.
Shuma. Matt Brown and Wharton both back.
Very savvy player, Shiloh Shuma. He keeps his poise, very comfortable on the ball. He's done a lot of little subtle things to aid the Maryland attack tonight.
Corner kick for the Maryland Terrapin. Shuma will take it. Or Indo, rather. Indo serves it up.
And that time coming forward, Oduiachim coming in, trying to get ahead on the ball, called for a foul, pushing Jeff Gall. Player out of DeMatha High School. Boy, they had a win streak, I think 40, 50 games in a row under David Evans. They and Gonzaga always in contention, seems, for the DC championship and also for their league championship. Very, very competitive league. The Catholic leagues in DC.
Much different half offensively than we had in the first. All 6 goals scored in the first half. Ambrose taken away by Bird, number 11.
Other side of the field.
Good work by Endo coming back in the defensive end, not really known as a defensive player, but you do work both sides of the field when you're playing for Maryland under Sasha Surowski.
Little maintenance on the shoe.
maybe the most improved player on the Maryland team. Saw significant minutes last year, but he's been a foundation of the team this year in his attacking midfield role.
Here's Mullins. That's his first touch here in the second half. You know, I think they've done a much better job of marking Mullins here in the second half.
I think George Gelnovat showed confidence in those two defenders, McBride and Brown, and he was thinking about moving Sullivan into the middle, but he shows faith in them. When we talked to him early in the week, he compared them to those players, Monaco and Volk, who were the center backs when they won the national championship. That's pretty high praise. And when Zach Carroll comes back, got a decision. They've got some good central defenders. Not fast, but very smart, very consistent.
Wait till I get set on him. Wait, hey, go wait till I get set.
Good look at Sasho Surovsky, who's been in a lot of big games in his career as the Maryland coach, taking them to a couple of national championships.
People don't remember the first year he was at Maryland, I believe they only won 3 games. Amazing. Now, if they lose 3 games in a season, it's an off year. Their goal every year is a national championship. He has built a dynasty in College Park.
Kyler Sullivan did a great job there, taking it away from Indo. We're getting another card.
This goes to Suli Danka. Peter Dima calling that right away, and Sasha Surovsky doesn't like the call, as you can expect. But I think the reason was that Mr. Dima thought that the player was free and clear, and that's why Danka took him down. It happened as he entering attacking third. It might have resulted in a chance on goal. That's the reason why he gave the yellow card.
James will take the kick. And sails it right at Zach Steffen.
That's too easy. Your restarts, you've got to get a chance on goal. Looked impressive. That ball needs to be to the far post where someone can get ahead on it.
Allen. Not much of a shot there.
This young Virginia team, sometimes they make bad decisions when to shoot, when not to shoot. I thought there were some times in the first half they could have pulled the trigger, and now sometimes we see they're shooting from way afar. There's not much chance to beat a goalkeeper like Zach Steffen. And George Gelnovat, he was a great player here at Virginia himself. No one understands that better than he does.
James has it, number 17. Trying to mount an attack. He goes down. 2 defenders from Maryland there, and definitely a foul.
Brian James is not usually a player who takes a lot of people on. That time, Maryland just kept giving him ground, and he did the right thing, accelerating and drawing the foul. Now, we need to, for Virginia, we need to take advantage of the last ball by James. It was right to the goalkeeper. Now they've got their restart specialist, Patty Foss. Expect to see a little more dangerous chance. He drives that ball in hard, doesn't give the defense as much time to react.
Good play by the Maryland defense to change the field. Here's Mullins. Leaves it for Schuma.
We want Patrick Foss to drive it in, but not to the guy right in front of him. He needs to do better as well.
Far side, Allen. Briggs Lennon, and the ball being played in the midfield a lot right now. There's Bird.
Or is a Virginia Cavalier who went down hard, a little slow getting up. I'll tell you that. That is James, number 17.
It is Brian James. One player we have not seen thus far from Virginia is Nico Corvo, along with Jordan Allen. He was one of the most highly rated recruits in the country. I would expect to see him to come on and maybe add a different dimension to Virginia's attack.
Sullivan's got it on the right side. Both teams working hard, just not able to mount any real offensive threat. There's Allen.
Jordan.
Kevin McBride. Part of that back line that's played really well for Virginia. Wharton now. Just missed getting it ahead to Allen.
It was a great pass by Wharton, and I thought Adui Hutchin was beaten. He just is so quick back there.
Yeah, it was Darius Madison who almost beat him. Now Bird, here's Madison on the right side. Good play by Madison to get it to Jordan Allen. If you from a distance have trouble telling the 8 and 9s apart, we are too.
8 and 9 are so similar looking numbers.
It is.
And Allen and Madison have much the same style. They're both players with a lot of speed who can take players on, and they do it, both of them.
Nothing happened so far here in the second half, but hang on, folks. We're still tied at 3.
ACC Soccer is brought to you by the official corporate champions of the ACC, BB&T, Haviland, and Food Line.
All tied at 3. Mike Hogwood, Richard Broad with you for ACC Soccer. Richard, we're tied at 3 and the second half. The reason we haven't seen a lot of offense.
Well, these are two good teams, and they're not just going to give away goals, and they've solidified the defense. Sasha Surovsky's substitution of 2 quick players in the defense has made a difference, and George Gelnovach took a different approach. He said, I'm going to just talk to our players, let those 2 players, McBride and Brown, figure it out, and they've done a much better job denying Mullins. But I see on the sideline, Maryland, what I think will be a very important substitution is happening right now. Here he comes, number 20, the moving mountain, Jake Pace, coming in for Shiloh Suma. Jake Pace, a great story. He's played not a lot, but he's gotten better and better. He works hard. He's a powerful, hard-working guy. Sasha Surovsky describes him as a program player, just does everything he's asked, and he has improved immeasurably, and he's a threat in the last 20 minutes.
Speaking of threat, there's James. Talking about Jake Pace, even though he hadn't played a whole lot, second on the team in goals with 5. As you look at Eric Bird.
Well, with a guy like Jake Pace, you've been playing out there, you've been playing these small, quick players, and here comes Jake Pace, like a runaway locomotive who just powers into you.
On the corner. Headed out by Maryland. Bird again serves it up right to Zach Steffen.
Eric Bird getting actively involved. He's been the key to the Virginia attack most of this season. They need to get the ball into him. He can create some chances for those fast players alongside him.
Bird was not as involved in the first half, but you're right. He's had more touches here in the second. That was Bird trying to leave it for James. That's Pace, number 20. Look at Pace up against a guy like Endo, and it's what a difference in size.
Look how strong he is. They took it away from him that time, but he's so big and he's thick, and he can keep that ball, and he's allowing Maryland to get more of a chance, and he is a very aggressive player in the final third.
Good play by Matt Brown to head it away from Mullins. Not a smart move by James, but Indo is so quick. Sowers, Ambrose. Ahead it goes to Sonny Jane, who just came in. Fell down, he looked up, wanted a foul, wasn't called. He's not happy about it.
He's very frustrated. I thought that was a foul on Brian James that time. Sonny Jane is a player who lives on taking people on, and he's not able to do that. It negates a lot of his play. Here he does, he turns very well, and I thought James took him down that time.
Bird. Sowers, a good job. Sowers has played well today. Michael Sowers. You see Matt Brown.
He has another careless ball by Virginia in the back, that time by Eric Bird. Unusual from him. We saw one goal scored by Maryland early on when Kyler Sullivan gave away a casual pass. Virginia cannot afford to let Maryland have opportunities that way.
Maryland loses it out of bounds. Kyler Sullivan will throw it in.
James coming off, they've moved in Ryan Zinkan, sort of the Mr. Everything. He plays almost every position. This time, instead of going up top, he'll play wide in the midfield.
Stephan doing a good job directing traffic. Metzger, a great job with the tackle there to take it away from Bird. Head it goes to Pace. Pace. Ambrose is Maryland trying to mount an attack here. Sowers into the box, headed away by the Cavs, but taken right back by Pace. Pace turn, that's not a good shot.
No, and the thing that Jake Pace needs to work on is becoming a little bit cleaner technically, but he's the reason why they had the shot in the first place. His ability to hold the ball, held off 3 defenders at one point. He is just so strong. He reminds me in some ways of Connor Casey, who's had a brilliant career in the professional leagues and even a few shots with the national team.
Indo went down really hard. Here comes Mullins. Patrick Mullins. Oh, my. Pace was almost in a great position.
Another thing that Pat Mullins does well when he's withdrawn, he can run at players. I think he's going to be most effective at the next level as an outside midfielder where he can use that left foot and see the field and attack defenders at speed.
Header by Indo, gets it to Sonny Jane, number 10. Taken away by McBride. Sullivan. 21, Zinkan, who just came in. Boy, what a battle going on. Madison over on the far side for Virginia, number 9.
And Adui Achim again with that quickness, unable to deny Darius Madison.
You know, when he makes a mistake, he's able to recover because he's so fast.
Very, very quick. And Sulidanka, same kind of player. The substitution by Sasha Surovsky is what's kept his team in the game. He's got 2 big, strong, good players who are struggling to keep up the speed of Virginia, and he made excellent substitution. It's why we're even.
Zinkan, number 21. Madison went for the header and went down very hard. Mullins goes down, no whistle.
A terrific play by Todd Wharton, who lost the ball and didn't waste any time, got back and poked the ball away from Patrick Mullins. Looking at this down here, that quickness in defense. And this is Donka playing and just denies Madison, and very, very good defense.
Hey, you were talking about we might see Nico Corvo here in the second half. He just came in, number 10. There he is, freshman from Potomac, Maryland. Well, he's fresh.
He had a brilliant career, Mike, at Gonzaga and on his club team in Bethesda, one of the most highly touted recruits in the country. He's had a little adjustment to the college game, but they have big plans for him here at Virginia, and he can strike a ball, and he's dangerous.
This is Corvo here, number 10. Well, great job by Bird. Madison maintains control. Good job by Bird, number 11. And here's Corvo, number 10. Just talking about him a moment ago. Allen now. Oh, what a move by Allen. Shot just high. Look at this shot by Jordan Allen.
Great individual attacking ability. Can keep that ball. And again, that's Madison at 8 and 9. Look, an awful lot alike. But Darius Madison, very explosive player as well. So much alike. And Virginia has all that pace. We haven't seen Solandi DeFore back into the second half, and he looked very dangerous. Maybe he's got nicked in the first half. I'm not really sure.
Indo tried to get it to pace. This is Allen. Wants to get it ahead to Madison. Madison, who just took that shot a moment ago, sailed it high. Zincan. Bird trying to get off a shot.
Worth a try. That's a better effort from Virginia. Some of their shots have been 30, 35 yards. This time Bird at the top of the box wants to take that shot. Good decision. But that Maryland defense is really solidified, and we can't underestimate the role of Dan Metzger. He's just such a solid player, and he just covers so much ground and works so hard and gets in on a lot of tackles.
Mullins and Zincan going at it. Zincan whistled for the foul, and they exchange a few pleasantries between each other.
And another, what I think is an excellent substitution by Sasha Surowski. He's brought back on Sheila Suma, giving him a rest. He's played very well, and that enables him to move Pat Mullins out to the left side midfield, gives him an extra scoring threat. Good job by Michael Sowers. Mullins is very dangerous coming in from the left flank.
Mullins. Kyler Sullivan looks like he's cramping up just a little bit. 13 will throw it in here. You know, as we get under 10 minutes, now it's starting to get a little more physical. Now the players are starting to talk to each other just a little bit.
I think they've always been talking. They've been physical, but a little more
right now, yeah.
I don't think there's any love lost between these two teams.
Matt Brown, who was credited with a goal. That was pace. It's tough to get it by the wide body.
Virginia needs to do more with their restarts. They got the equalizing goal in the first half when Patty Foss put the ball on net. The last couple of restarts have not been well taken by Virginia.
Great point. We are approaching 8 minutes to play in regulation. Pace the header, and it's cleared out by Sullivan.
Gets onto so many balls, Jake Pace. He's not pretty technically, but he throws himself around. And he gives Maryland 15, 20 good minutes to the end of the half. He is a handful for any defense.
That's Kabellik, who's coming back in for Maryland. Indo will get a break. Mullins trying to get it to Jane, and foul will send it the other way.
Nice pass by Patrick Mullins. Slips that ball inside, and an even better defensive play by Todd Wharton, doing the job in the defensive end for Virginia.
He's done that job all night long.
Done that job since he came to Charlottesville. He's just steady, consistent, a great example, captain as a sophomore.
Scored a goal tonight. Six goals have been scored tonight, all of them in the first half. Eric Bird, the offensive threat for Virginia, their leading goal scorer. Headed out, this is Bird, number 11. Corvo for Zinkan. Madison, number 9, great footwork. What a job by Madison. Leaves it for Sullivan. Throw in Virginia.
Gotta like the work by those two young center backs on Maryland. They haven't played a lot lately. They have really played well today.
Madison. Corvo was right there in the box. Good job by the Maryland defenders. Ahead to Schuma. Kabalik just in. It's Kabalik, number 16. Well, it almost looked like they pulled Mullins down. Oh, that's Pace, actually.
The man they pulled down was Jake Pace, and that Pace quite something. Look at how strong and powerful he is. He just holds the ball and just gives another dimension to the attack. He is a handful for anybody, especially somebody that's tired at the end of the game.
And he's not. He's fresh.
He's made himself into a player. He's worked really hard to be fit, and he's just terrapin through and through.
Here's the score update. Notre Dame, a final now. The Irish have beaten the Hokies 1-0.
They work hard for that one.
Cleared out by Gall. Four minutes to go in regulation. Ambrose. Schuma goes down.
Are you surprised we haven't seen any scoring here in the second half?
As I said, Mike, sometimes you get all this explosion of goals and then you don't get any at all.
And here's Sonny Jane, goal! Able to stop it, but Sonny Jane had a chance.
We almost saw it there. Great work by Dan Metzger, and this is what Sonny Jane does well, play in small spaces, gets that shot off, and a great save by Gall, who's leaning the other way, came back to his right to deny Jane. Virginia's done a good job keeping possession. When you allow Maryland to keep that ball and get it moving, you are going to have problems beating them. But Virginia's established possession, and this young team is really growing for this match. They get a win tonight, it would be a monumental step forward for the program.
7 underclassmen started the match tonight for Virginia. Got to believe now, next goal wins it. Either now or in overtime.
Yeah, I think with 2 minutes to go, the next one should be decisive. And of course, we go to the sudden death overtime. The golden goal would win it. And you're seeing fatigue set in some things. Schuma just hitting that ball with his hand. We've seen a little less tidy collection of the ball now. And who's going to keep their concentration and capitalize on mistakes?
Looking more and more like we'll go to overtime. Zekan. Can Virginia mount one more attack here in regulation? Get another shot. Mullins chased down by Foss. We approach 1 minute to play. Metzger. A lot of long balls right now. I think these players sense we're getting ready to go to overtime as well. Final 10 seconds of regulation, and we are going to go to overtime, all tied at 3. This was our score at halftime. Nobody scores, Richard, here in the second half.
Funny game, soccer that way, Mike. It is.
Indeed. Well, we'll be back with the overtime period in just a moment. We end regulation. Virginia 3 and Maryland 3. There's George Gelnovich being rather emphatic with his team right now. So is Sasho Surovsky. I think both these teams really reflect the energy and passion of their coaches.
They certainly do. A team reflects the personality of its coach. There's nobody more competitive than Sasho Surovsky. And yet at the same time, I give him immense credit for recruiting quality young men. They compete, but they compete in the right way. And George Gelnovich at Virginia, he won that national championship in 2009 after coming so close. He's a Cavalier through and through, played here under Bruce Arena. Now he has 250 wins like Bruce Arena, his mentor.
Well, it's golden goal now. Whoever scores wins. And it's not like these teams haven't played overtime this year.
Well, when you get to this situation, Mike, a lot of times it's the team that makes the mistake. This man, Jake Pace, is in there. He can make players make mistakes, and so can Pat Mullins. And got to be solid and steady. And I'm sure both these coaches, as much as they fired their team up, stressed being consistent, not taking chances in the extra time, because one misstep and you can go home on the short end.
Maryland's played 5 overtimes this year, only lost 1. The rest have ended in ties.
Such parity in the ACC. That's why you have ties. North Carolina with 5 ties, and there's so many teams that are just so good in their national powers. Adding Notre Dame to the mix certainly makes the conference more competitive. And Syracuse has had a very good year, but they've struggled against the tough competition in the ACC.
Virginia, on the other hand, has played overtime 3 times, tied 2 and won 1. Their last outing was a 2 overtime draw with Duke.
You see Endo back in the midfield. He's able to go. He's been an important cog in Maryland's team this year.
Just misses Endo. Here's Ambrose. Ten-minute overtime period. Golden Goal wins it. Nobody scores, and this one will play another one. And then it'll be called a draw if no one can score.
Jake Pace gets his head on almost every ball flighted in the attack. It makes a difference in it, allowing his team to get possession in the attacking third.
Zekan is coming off the bench.
Ball's cleared up by Brown, and he and McBride have really settled in. A different approach by George Gelnovich. He told us at halftime he was thinking of making a change and putting Sullivan in the middle, but he's challenged his players, and they've done a really good job in the middle of the defense the second half, both McBride and Brown. Sasha Swarovski, on the other hand, making a change, and it's worked out well for him.
There's Madison. He's got great speed. To Allen on the far side. Allen. Metzger continues to do a great job in the back.
Virginia wanted to see a handball on Dan Metzger. I don't think that was the case.
Ahead it goes. Maybe a chance for Virginia here. No whistle. Zekan. Now here's Bird on the far side. And it'll be a corner now for Virginia. Let's see.
Virginia fans wanted a penalty kick on that situation, especially after 2 were called earlier.
And this was
take
close.
A look at this.
That was close.
Very, very close. As Achim is the player there, and he and Donka with that quick pace, but very, very possible that Odui Achim may have committed a foul, got away with it, but now Virginia has to get beyond that, make the most of the corner. And again, it's Patty Foss with that lethal left foot.
There it is.
Virginia crowd is ecstatic as the ball goes in 10 seconds after the whistle. But it'll be Jordan Allen taking that corner from the right side. They want to hit those in-swingers in at Steffen, and he has struggled a little bit on these restarts.
There it is, headed out by the Maryland defense. Still a chance. That was Madison who knocked it just wide.
And we're going to have another one. It was Jake Pace who headed the ball first, but he didn't get it clear. And Zach Steffen has to take charge and fight through that traffic to win this ball.
Great play. I think that was Metzger.
I think it was Jake Pace again. We're calling his name, and the guy does a lot of good things for the Maryland program.
Sowers, Maryland able to turn the field. Sonny Jane going after it. You can see his speed. Well, I think that was out. It was out of bounds. Throw in Maryland. Well, it was close.
Very, very close. That ball needs to be all the way over the line. I don't believe it was.
Indo, number 31. Mullen, strong shot. Right at goal.
Good thing he recovered that because Endo did the right thing and followed that shot in off Pat Mullen's foot.
Under 4 minutes to play in the first overtime. Indo is fouled by Madison.
Won't appear in the box score, but another good tackle by Dan Metzger.
And a card being issued to number 9, Darius Madison.
Not sure what that was for, Mike. Might have been for dissent. Not really sure in this situation. One thing that it puzzles me is that Marcus Solandi DeFore has not come back on. I have to think there was an injury. We can't seem to find out, but he was very dangerous in the first half. Scored the first goal, or the second goal rather.
Indo taken away by Bird. Far side, Jordan Allen. .250 to go here in overtime number 1. Goal wins it. Good play far side. Sullivan. Sowers, pretty good defensive play.
Even though
but
they
it's
get
a corner again now for Virginia.
Even with a corner kick, Kyler Sullivan needs to get that ball in quicker. There was an opportunity to get Maryland a little bit unbalanced defensively. Now they go for a corner.
This is the third corner here in overtime. This is dangerous for Maryland.
At least 3, maybe even 4, and let's see if Steffen can control it. He's relied on his defense heavily, Pace and Metzger, to get the ball out. He needs to come and dominate the area. Patty Foss, with that left foot, he can whip that ball in, put a lot of pressure on the goalie.
Good ball, and right to Steffen. You know, Mullins made an excellent play.
Did, carrying that ball out. Good two-way player, Patrick Mullins. I'm impressed with Virginia. Usually Maryland is a team that keeps coming and coming at you because they're so very fit, but Virginia's not giving anything away, and they've had the better of it in this first overtime. They need to take advantage of these restarts.
Both of these teams went to double overtime on Tuesday night. Virginia, a draw with Duke. Maryland at Notre Dame, 1-1.
Two tired teams, and Sasha Surovsky said it's the toughest stretch in the season, and for Virginia, maybe not the toughest stretch, but certainly one of the most active ones. Virginia's got a week off to recover, and they will need it. There's some tired legs out here, even though both teams are deep and have been able to substitute.
This is their 9th match in the last 29 days, Virginia. Schuma, boy, and just cleared out. Zinkan as we're under 30 seconds.
Valuable player, Ryan Zinkan plays wherever you ask him to, and that time he came all the way back, and if he's not there, Maryland has an excellent chance to end this.
Schuma, and there's Zinkan who cleared it away. Well, we're going to go to overtime number 2. The first overtime has ended, and we are still tied. 6 goals, all of them scored in the first half. It looked like we were going to have an offensive shootout tonight early on, but it hasn't turned out that way in the second half of the first overtime.
No, we were calculating if they keep it up, we'll have double figures. It'll be 12-11 or something like that. But this is the way it happens a lot in soccer. You score a lot and then the teams settle in. It's the exact opposite type of game in the second half.
We're going to take a quick break now. We're back with overtime number 2. Virginia 3, Maryland 3. Mike Hogwood here, Richard Broad, as we get ready to go to overtime number 2. And Richard, now you got to worry about fatigue, about the legs, and sometimes that leads to a mistake.
Well, it does, and what these teams have to do is be very sure and not take any unnecessary risk, any unnecessary chances. Right now, these players are really not feeling the fatigue as they're sort of caught up in the moment, but they'll be tired after this one, especially, as you say, Mike, after the tough matches they had with Duke and Notre Dame during the week.
There's Dan Metzger. Boys, he played well. The junior from Staten Island.
I don't think he ever gets tired. He's just a machine, a hard-working player. And they played him out wide, Dan Metzger, early in the year, and they had Helgi Lietvang, who brings a lot of leadership in, but Dan Metzger is just too valuable in the center of the park. He may very well have been the man of the match for Maryland.
Seen a lot of time all 3 years he's been a Maryland Terrapin. There's Metzger.
Very important that he's done the defensive work. As quick as those two central defenders are, they need that stable leadership that Dan Metzger provides. Captain is only in his junior year. He's the captain of the team. Great leader, great example.
Wharton for Pat Foss, number 20. Here's Jordan Allen, the great freshman, on the cross. Madison couldn't really get a good shot off.
Need a better quality cross than Jordan Allen provided that time.
Aticha is back in, number 11 for Maryland.
See those tired legs, again, Endo just couldn't get that ball all the way across. He's looking to play on the far side.
Maybe a chance here for Virginia. That was Madison.
Excellent defense by Suleiman Danke.
Battle and a shot. Oh, and a great save by Goal. Or Steffen, rather. That's Zach Steffen.
And that's a rare mistake by Dan Metzger. He thought the ball was going to go out, and he just kept battling in there. And we see that this is Nico Corvo, who gets an opportunity, and he doesn't let it go out. And very brave, aggressive goalkeeping by Steffen denies
right.
Corvo.
Be a corner now for Virginia.
Once again, that left-footed in-swinging ball, it's caused so much problem for Steffen in the defense.
And they scored. This play earlier bends in.
That's better work by Zach Steffen. He comes out, he punches that ball, and he is fouled. If you assert yourself as a goalkeeper, those forwards are not going to take much liberty with you. But earlier in the game, Zach Steffen let Virginia get inside, let that ball go, and Virginia's really caused problems when they've had accurately placed restarts.
Zach Steffen, just a freshman. Teacher, who's got fresh legs, just came in. Nobody scores in this overtime. We'll end all tied.
Virginia's had a lot of restart chances, but now it's Maryland's turn, and they're bringing the moving mountain, Jake Pace, back on to cause a little havoc in the penalty box.
And that's Tsubasa Indo, who scored the first goal of the game, is coming out. Pace has had an impact on these set plays off the corners.
He has an impact because he's so powerful, so competitive, and he'll just throw his body in front of the ball to get a result.
Did Sowers lose it? That's Sowers, number 3.
I think so. I think it went off Virginia, so we're getting another restart, another corner for Maryland.
Teacher went down, no whistle.
Good defending by Patty Foss against the big man Pace, but he's a little bit fatigued, knocking the ball out of bounds. Jake Pace, just, we're repeating ourselves, he just is so hard to deal with, especially when you're tired at the end of the game.
Here is Pace, number 20. Being marked by Foss. Oh, Jake Pace can't believe the call.
You can't believe it, and I thought the ball went out off Virginia myself. Pace doing the smart thing, looking to get a call, and it may have hit Jake Pace in the chest before it went out.
Four and a half to go here in overtime, number 2. Sullivan sends it forward. Corvo, the freshman, to Wharton, who scored a goal tonight. Here's Madison. Madison to Allen. Bird was close. They almost had the perfect play. Now Foss. Zincan missed it. Able to chase it down. Zincan, Corriveau. Zincan's going to take a long shot, and it's high.
Ryan Zincan wishes he could have that one back. He's given some great work to George Gelnovich off the bench in the second half. That was a great battle in there between Tui Achim and Nico Corriveau. Those players faced each other in high school. DeMatha for Achim, Gonzaga for Corriveau. They've seen enough of each other prior to this match, and it's a battle whenever those two guys go at it.
Jake Pace throws his hands up. He was fouled.
Such a presence in the field. He just gives Sasha Surofsky another attacking dimension.
Redshirt senior out of Columbia, Maryland. Scored 2 goals in the win over Pitt for the Terps. Metzger. Offsides is the call. Time now becoming a factor. Virginia has outshot Maryland 19-13. But that's not the stat that counts. We're under 2 minutes. Voss serves it forward. There's the header. Is that Zincan? Yes.
Yes, that was a brilliant cross by Patty Voss. He couldn't have placed it much better. And Zincan, who looks like he is just almost done, has really given good, solid minutes off the bench for George Gelnovich's squad.
1:20 to go into the second overtime. You know, it'd be amazing if this ends 3-3 after the way we started.
Soccer is an interesting game. It's so hard to score goals and so easy to give them up. And we saw examples of each of those in the 2 separate halves and the overtime.
Especially when you have 2 teams who have as many great players as these do. Very few mistakes. Approaching 30 seconds.
Peter Demas stopping the clock, but this is an important restart. Maryland had Mikey Ambrose on the ball, got their big, strong players forward, Pace, Mullins into the attack. Looks like Dan Metzger's going forward as well.
Mikey Ambrose, number 5. Into the 18, there's a header, and Gall comes down with it. Got to hurry now, less than 30 seconds. Corriveau maintaining control. That clear out may do it. Mullins, will he get a shot at it? Takes a shot, no. We are going to end in a 3-3 tie. Who would have thought? And these players are absolutely gassed as you see Patrick Mullins.
You see both of these teams having overtime games not only tonight, but earlier in the week. They have earned the rest that they'll be getting in the next few days.
Yeah, if you joined us late, we got started in high style, folks.
Right off the bat, Pat Mullins creating a chance for Endo, heads the ball down. No chance for Gall. Pat Mullins creating it.
But Virginia comes right back.
We talk about these restarts, not just direct from the restart, but a second ball coming out of the top. Todd Wharton finishes low and past the keeper. An individual work by Marcus Solandi Dufour, beating 3 people and driving the ball past Steffen. It's too bad that he couldn't go in the second half for Virginia. But Mullins again creating a lot of problems and a little bit of casual play in the back. Kyler Sullivan doesn't get the ball all the way back and is picked up by Sowers, who runs to the defense. He's taken down, and this will create a penalty kick.
You know, these 2 penalty kicks, obviously the difference in a Virginia win and a tie.
They are, and Pat Mullins the second time creates the second one. He's taken down this time by Kevin McBride. He goes to the same side, and once again Gall cannot come up with it. So Maryland's up 3-2, but once again, restart so important. This ball's played in by Patty Foss. Maybe Matt Brown touched it.
I
don't
was awfully
know.
close.
Very, very close. They score. Virginia did not do as well with the restarts in the second half. Here's an excellent chance. Unfortunate. It looks like that might be Zinkan coming in, and it goes right to Steffen. And Jake Pace moving through just about everybody. And Pat Mullins can't quite finish.
Then in the second half, a few chances as there Madison sails it high. Corriveau and a good stop by Gall.
That's a great stop and getting through on that particular one.
Steffen,
Sonny Jane. Very close call that time. Peter DiMachosa let it go after awarding 2 penalties to Maryland. Virginia fans upset. Deflected ball, Jeff Gall in perfect position for it. And we're seeing in the second overtime, we keep battling, and this is a really interesting play. I thought that ball might have been out, but Nico Corriveau doesn't give up after Dan Metzger let it go, and a fine save by Zach Steffen at the near post, denying Corriveau.
Well, it's been a tough stretch for Virginia, and as you said, they've got a week off now as this ends in a 3-3 tie.
Well, it's been a tough stretch, but a rewarding stretch, and George Gelnovich can tell those players, I know they're disappointed, he can tell them, you've played against the best, and you've really measured up, and the future's very bright for this young Cavalier squad.
Folks, we've got more ACC women's soccer action for you on Sunday at noon. Number 9 Notre Dame battles number 10 Virginia Tech in women's soccer. Check your local listings for the broadcast time in your area. For now, for Richard Broad, Mike Hogwood saying so long from Klockner Stadium. We end at a double overtime 3-3 tie. Thank you, Tom. Boy, I tell you what, this men's game between Virginia and Maryland was something special, Richard. 3-3 double overtime tie. But you never would have believed it the way this game started.
Well, it exploded. 3 goals in the first 5 minutes and 6 goals in the first half. But I thought it showed the ability of these coaches to adjust. Sasha Surovsky bringing on those 2 youngsters, those 2 freshmen had the speed to deal with Virginia's fast forwards. And George Gelnovich showing great confidence in his more experienced defenders, keeping McBride and Brown in and denying Mullins much in the second half.
Well, it was important if you're on the road to score first, and that's what Maryland did. The cross here, and Indo gets the goal, and it's 1-0 Maryland.
On the end of a Mullins cross, Patrick Mullins involved in everything. And here's a restart. Patty Foss driving it in. Todd Wharton, top of the box, finishes it. In less than a minute, Virginia's got it tied.
All right, here they come one more time. What a great move that was by Solandi Dufour, who did not play in the second half.
Didn't he? Must have carried an injury. He beat 2 players at the top of the box, beat Crognali at the end of the play, and puts the team on top, but Maryland's not done. Careless pass by Kyler Sullivan. Gets picked off by Sowers, runs at Brown, gets fouled, taken down, and you've got to figure that Pat Mullins will take the PK, and he converts, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, he converted 2 penalty kicks. That's the second time this season he's had 2 penalty kicks. Another one's coming up right here.
He earns it himself that time, and he goes to the same side. Maryland's up 3-2. But Virginia is not done. Pat Mullins accepting congratulations. Meanwhile, Patty Foss driving the ball through on a restart and maybe Brown touches it. Matt Brown with his head just gets a little flick on. He gets credit for the goal. Patty Foss with a nice restart for the assist.
And that's the way it ended. 3-3 in double overtime. You surprised that nobody scored in the second half or in the 2 overtime periods?
It's funny, that's the way soccer is. It's a game where it's very easy to give up goals, very hard to score them. We saw examples of both in these 2 halves and the overtime tonight.
All right. For Richard Broad, I'm Mike Hogwood, and Dean Linke will send it back to you in the studio.